Alright everyone, welcome back to the Book and Beverage review. I haven't posted in a while, and that's just because I've been really busy with some friends and some family members. And right now, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be doing a lot of reviews coming up this month of May. I think like 20 reviews. So that's going to be a lot of shooting, probably like shooting and editing every night. I hope I'll be able to survive it, but sometimes I promise things I'm not able to do it, and I'm really sorry. It's just a time thing. But today we got a really good episode. My friend TJ Lombardi, he has made book 2 and 3 of the Dying Breed series, which I'm going to get into book 2, but I'm doing a review of book 3 today. And then I'm going to be reviewing the Amber Edition Redbull Strawberry Apricot. It sounds good. I've heard mixed things. Some people say they like it, some people don't. So, without further ado, let's sip a beverage. Let's get a... I don't even remember my catch line. It's, let's sip some Red Bull and get into a book. Oh wow, this is a really nice pink peachy color. This is really nice. And I have a straw. Oh, this smells good. This smells like a peach soda. So, a lot of people don't know this, but I have this thing where if I taste beverages, I always kind of try to figure out what they taste like or similar things they taste like. And the thing is, sometimes I kind of ruin drinks for people because I say that, hey, this tastes like this, and they're like, oh, it's not special anymore. Red Bull is basically a pineapple soda. That's what it tastes like, with some bitterness to it and some other things, but it's basically like a very sweet pineapple soda to me. And this tastes like it's like a strawberry peach soda. So I hope that makes sense to some people. So we're gonna try it. I like it. It's a strawberry peach soda. That's what it is. It has a little bit of that Red Bull kick to it. Like, I don't know if it's that bitterness or that citric acid, but it has a little bit of that kick. I don't get energy from Red Bull, but I do like the flavor. Now, let's talk about our book. So, book 2 was The Dying Breed Injustice. I like seeing the parts of the book where the villains are interacting with each other. I thought it was really interesting, but one of the things that caught me up on that book is that there is, a la the theme Injustice, a sexual assault that occurs, and I wasn't really able to finish the book because that's really hard for me, being that I was once assaulted kind of in that way. So it was just not something that I was able to get through yet, but I hope one day I'll be able to go back and reread the series in its entirety, because I am starting to love this series more the more energy and effort I put into it. So we come to book 3. I would say more than the half of the events in this book, which is the Dying Breed Enslavement, book 3 in the series, it kind of is, it's happening way in the past, sometimes over 1,000 years in the past. We get a glimpse inside the dwarves of Lombardi's world and what their sort of slice of life, their customs, and the way that they view the world, being very stubborn and having that sort of classical greed that dwarves had. That's always very fun. But also the thing is that they are very in love with their mountain, and how they're very connected with it, and how they're very connected with the landscape. So that's one of the things that really got me interested in this book the most. It kind of reminded me of some of the things that happened in Aragon, and also John A. Douglas's book, The Black Crown by John A. Douglas, which is right here. And the reason why is it's sort of that sort of slice of life, get a glimpse of what these characters are, how they feel, their customs in a fantasy world. I feel like there's a lot happening at the beginning of this book that is right up my alley, stuff I really loved and really made me love this series. But moving forward, in this novel, we see TJ Lombardi, he's growing as a writer. He's becoming more fluid. This is more in-depth, and we're beginning to see a lot more emotion in these characters, and even some of their spiritual beliefs taking place. And I felt like that was really rewarding for me as a reader who's followed the series. I'm not going to say which character this quote is coming from, but this is supposed to show some of the more deeper side of these characters that we've been seeing. The character is experiencing a very deep loss and is talking about his sister passing. I will feel my sister and I will know she is still with me. I will feel her in the forest, feel her breath mixed with the mist. I will see her shadow as she follows me along my path. I will see her eyes staring back at me across the fire. I will hear her voice amongst the clashing of thunder. My sister will be with me for the rest of my days and will guide me on my path until we embrace in whichever life awaits us after this one. So that particular line might be my favorite of this entire book because of the fact that I felt like it could be on top of like an actual grave, you know? It's a really sad moment, but it also reflects the depth that's being put now into TJ's books. I think it takes time for a writer to become confident to put so many pieces of himself into a work. And I think since the beginning, TJ hasn't been afraid of it. It's just taken him time to sort of learn that. We meet Liam and it's a very sort of raucous, raunchy, coming of age tale of how he's learning how to be the person he needs to become. And a lot of that is sort of like banter between people and sort of the teenage sort of cussing back and forth during like this sort of boot camp and training. And again, that's part of, I think, Lombardi's spirit that really comes out in these books, and I feel like that makes it special. As much as I can say that it's not always my thing, I can say it is original in the sense that it is him. It's who he is. That's why in a lot of ways I've always felt like this series was something a little different. There was a bit of realism in there. Sometimes I feel like especially with the dwarves, when they're having their sort of interactions and they're a little bit more raunchy and mocking and making fun of each other, I wonder if it really fits into this setting. But I have to remember that it actually brings a touch of realism to this, to the ethereal, right? It brings a touch of realism to fantasy. So that's why I say sometimes this genre and what TJ's doing can be a bit of an acquired taste, but I won't say it's wrong because he is a great writer. He knows what he's trying to say and he knows what he wants to put on paper. Now, I personally have been always really interested in warfare and the way that certain camps and certain armies can fare better than others depending on how they've situated themselves. Julius Caesar, as you know, is a very brilliant military strategist, along with Alexander the Great, and even Machiavelli was a military strategist for a while. I'm always a fan of looking back at the classics and seeing how those particular battles played out. And what was fun is that in the middle of this book we had diagrams that really showed us the battle plan that was playing out, just because sometimes it's really hard to visualize battle scenes, and it's nice to have the images, and it was nice that it was explained out so well. So it was really interesting to see this book because Liam is not in this book. Liam has been the protagonist of the series basically, and he is not in this book. We're seeing more of Cod Girak and the interactions and really what happened way before Liam in here as with the dwarves. So I do think it worked. I feel like for a book 3, is it possible to not have your protagonist in there? I think it did work because it's sort of an expansion of Lombardi's world and the dwarves. You know, if you like dwarves, this is a book for you because I enjoy dwarves, and this was a very classical but well done walk inside a world, his dwarf world. So an extra feature that was given is at the end of this, a novella was towards the end, and it was The Dying Breed Thievery, which follows, of all characters, Golgoth and him doing sort of a seafaring heist mission for Emmanuel the God King, right? And I have never liked Golgoth. I know some people do. I have never really liked him. I think he's interesting, but he's never been one of my favorites for some reason. And now I think after reading this, he's definitely in like my top 3 of favorite characters from this series, because towards the end, the emotions that you're seeing, a sort of a softer, warmer side of him, is very unique And I know that there were some things before in the series that kind of hinted at this side of him, but I really feel like this is more um I really feel like this is more him. I really feel like this is more like you understand the character more. So I really enjoyed the novella at the end of it. It was an unexpected feature, but I do think it was a really smart idea, because a standalone novella in the series at this point would have felt a little weird, but I think that including it with this when Liam is not on camera was actually really smart again. So another thing that really strikes me about TJ is his loyalty. He has so much loyalty to fellow authors and fellow people that he interacts with. In the suggested page of suggested other books and fantasy books that people might like, I realized that Brett Humphrey's Awakening was in there. And that is a book that I actually have downloaded and I'm supposed to get to at some point in my never-ending TBR. But I met him along the same time I met TJ Lombardi, and I realized that that's probably how they met, and they've probably started they had a fellowship kind of between one another. And so when you see that and you see that he is suggesting the books of other friends and people he's met in his own books, he's always bringing in people from his real life and naming his characters off of people he met or people in his service. And honestly, I think that's something that makes the series special. This is why it was originally a 5-star series. I had rated the Dying Breed Injustice as a 4-star only because it wasn't my cup of tea because of the sexual assault. It's not something I can really read for or read through because of how I view it, but I still thought his writing had increased in its fluidity and its enjoyment, really, and it was just a funnier book too. So I really enjoyed it, and this one is way up there. There are times when I'm like, his prose and his fluidity is really, I mean, it's really become top notch. So I am so proud of him. I'm proud of him, what he's accomplished, and I'm grateful that he's coming to this point in his writing career where he's not afraid to say certain things or to get deeper with these characters, because it's good for us as readers. And yeah, I know the Dying Breed 4 comes out, and I read in this book that it's supposed to be the final in the Emmanuel the God King series. So I'd like to see how this ends and how Liam is able to bring peace to the land. One thing I think is also very interesting is that in TJ's world, the demons pose as gods. And I love that he makes that so clear. So a lot of these characters are demons, and they come to our physical plane and they pose as gods. And that's something that TJ has made clear. And that's one of those things that make this very special. And I also think it's more fascinating, right? Because you get to see this side of illusion and how they pull off their illusions, and the sort of steps that they take to make the humans feel like this is real. And not just the humans in this book, the Fraiche, which are like frog warriors, which are actually very interesting to see how that plays out. So the way Taylor acts with these sort of frog warrior creatures, I think it's really interesting, and it's one of those things that I feel was gold in this book, to be able to see how this demon is going and posing as a god to them and what he's doing to get them to do what he wants. I think it's an interesting series. I think it's really flips a lot of sort of fantasy things on its head. I do think you guys should try out the series, especially if you like that sort of teenage banter, a little raucous, young, dumb but tough sort of male protagonist, and who really just wants to do the right thing but always ends up in situations that are way over his head. In the first 2 books, that's kind of what happens, but as of this book, it does seem to me like the world is expanding. It's becoming a little bit more serious. We're getting a sense of how serious this world is and how many people are involved and why it's so important for Liam to come be the hero he needs to be. And again, the ending of this book was great. My favorite ending of all the books is in this book for a good reason. And I hope you guys get to go in there. I hope you guys get to see it. It's quite exciting. So yeah, congratulations, TJ. You did a really good job on this book, and I'm really excited to see part 4. So for rating this book, I'm going to rate it 5 stars because I always enjoy this series and I always think that this has something very special to it. So for this, I forgot how I do my rating. Like, I think 3 stars is fair and I would do it again. I would like buy it again. 4 is like, I really like it. I really enjoy it. 5 is like, I will get this often. I would say this is a 4. I say it's better than fair. It's a 4, so it's like, I mean, energy drinks too, you can't do it that often anyway. I would say that this is not the best of the Red Bulls that I've tried, but it's up there. It's a little bit more chill and calm than that sort of attack you bitter flavor that you usually get from Red Bull. But I feel like this here is actually a really good drink, just to sort of enjoy like I was doing while reading your novels and, you know, not worrying about what tomorrow brings. So yeah, I would give this a 4 star. I've always been struggling to figure out how to tell people what's coming up next because I don't even know what's coming up next sometimes. So I have recently started trying to actually get the books in. So I've already, of course, reviewed this one. This is one of my favorite books that I've ever read just because of, you know, the slice of life fantasy stuff. But coming forward, I will be reviewing Night Watch, which I've read some of Baker's work, but I actually haven't reviewed the stuff I've read, so that should be coming up too. But I'm going to read Night Watch. Why is because The Eccentrics is coming out on the 7th, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to review Night Watch tomorrow, and then I will review Proxies, which I should have done. It's been almost a year since I've had this book. I will review that one, and then I will be going through the Brandon Sanderson Reckoner series. I've already read Steelheart. I'm on Firefight, as you see my little bookmark there. And I will do, I don't know, what do you guys want? Do you guys want an individual review of these, or do you just want a review of the Reckoner series? Please let me know down below, because I can make an individual book for all of them, but I don't know what you guys would want. So I am going to do the Reckoner series, and then Mistborn is coming not long after that. So yeah, lots of things are coming up, even stuff that I'm probably forgetting about right now. So I really hope you guys stay tuned. I'm excited. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. If you like what I'm doing and you think I'm doing a good job or even a bad job, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below. And that's all for now. Thank you and have a great weekend, guys. Bye.